How much protein do we really need? Why do we need that much? And how is that possible? So, welcome back to MTC. Today, we are talking protein and how to increase protein. This is the fourth week of our VCU Wellness Warriors Challenge. And last week, we worked on kind of tracking how much protein that we are eating. So, I always suggest starting there, just see where you're at. But then also your symptoms. How do you feel? Do you have stable energy? Do you feel like you're gaining the muscle that you want to gain, especially if you're working out consistently? Do you have those afternoon crashes or post meal crashes where you feel good for a little while and then you just feel exhausted? Or for me personally, I had finally gone back to the gym after several years of kind of being unable to work out hard. I needed to do more stretching and therapy exercises for a couple of years after my autoimmune disease diagnosis because I was so weak. And so, definitely part of this is listening to your body and where you're at. But for me, I finally got back to the gym and I was working out pretty good, a lot harder than I had been in years. And my blood sugar started randomly dropping. And so I was very discouraged. I was like, great, what other medical diagnosis am I going to get now? I doubled back. I went back to my trainer and we talked about how much protein I was having, especially after a workout. And I told her, and what I was eating, about 70 to 80 grams, was pretty far from where I needed to be, since I was working out consistently, but also just as an active mom, right? Even just being an active mom, we don't sit still very often. And so we want to be replenishing our bodies. And I don't know about you, but I feel summer is one of the hardest times to do that because we are going to so many activities and doing so many different things that it can be really hard to fit it in, and planning can be a huge part of that. Okay, so let's circle back. Why do we need the protein? So our body builds off of the amino acids that protein breaks down into. And so without enough of those, we don't have the basic structure for our body to run. But also, if we're not getting enough protein, we're lacking some of it, then we're going to have that blood sugar that kind of goes up and down. And I'm not talking diabetes, but I'm talking energy crashes and not that stable mood, that stable energy. So a couple hours after we eat, we should feel a good, stable energy. We should be in a good mood. And we should not have the bloating and the things. And so if we're having any of those signs, that's a indication that what we ate was not necessarily what our body needed as far as ratio of fat, carbs, and protein. So in this challenge, we really just focused on protein. So that's the why. As far as how much, there's a lot of different numbers out there. And this is why I wanted you to track first, because I don't want you to go from 50 to 100 in 1 week. Okay. So figure out where you're at, and then we're going to work on slowly increasing. So I'll just be real honest. The goal for my body, I think, is like 135 grams. So again, there's lots of different thoughts here. One of the best calculations I've gotten is, I want to make sure I'm saying this right, zero point 0.8 times your body weight. I wish I could go redo that to make sure it's right. So mine comes out, now you know what I weigh. That's nice. But mine comes out to be about 135. And if I'm being really honest, I'm doing good to hit 120. But at 120, I feel good and I can do that consistently. So I'm going to hang out there for now. I probably need to work on increasing it, but I'm telling you, in summer, it's hard to hit that 120. So evaluate where you're at. And then in this challenge, 1 week left, I want you to increase it. Okay. So you're thinking, how? Okay. So I break this down into four different kind of meals, if you will, throughout the day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a snack. Okay. And each time I'm trying to get 20 to 25 grams per snack. And as always, listen to your body. And if you are one that is following a medical doctor and you are on some different prescriptions, as always, check with your doctor first. Work with your doctor. We can all work together. We can be a team. So, but definitely listen to your body, and then we're gonna increase it. Okay. So how do we do that? 20 to 25 grams 4 times a day is what I aim for. That gets me close to that 120. Okay. So here's a couple of my favorites. So this is at Walmart. I'm sorry. Okay. I like this brand. It's a fairly clean brand. I'll hold that up there for just a minute longer. They typically don't have the fake sugars. They might have some stevia. It's generally lower in sugar. Now, I'll tell you, I don't have the best digestion. So I have to kind of pair this with my other protein and do little bits at a time. I can't go wild on this because there's some veggies in here that I can't have too much of, like kale and spinach, those sorts of things. My body has a hard time digesting that. So I can have some, but I can't go wild. So that's one of my, and then my other favorite, and was actually doing the protein challenge with my trainer that got me to experiment. So experiment, guys. Get outside of your comfort zone and do something different, because that's how we're going to get better. We've got to challenge ourselves to push forward, if even by just a little bit, and listening to our body. All right. So this is my favorite. Okay. Now, listen, I will tell you, I cannot drink milk from the store. I cannot have yogurt from the store. I tried that last month. It didn't go well. My stomach the next day was like, no, you cannot have that. So the difference with this, okay, guys, let me see if I can. It does not say, this is A2. Okay. So I searched online and this is an A2 protein. What does that mean? This whey has not been genetically modified. It hasn't been touched by man. It's the way God created it within reason. It's still in powder form, but the protein hasn't been denatured. Then it is cold processed. So it is not denatured from the animal, and it is not denatured from the super processed heat. Okay. Our body can't break down that protein, especially when we take away the enzymes to break it down. Okay. That's why I can do the raw milk. That's why I can do the A2 whey. So those are a couple of my go-tos to try to help increase my protein. I love the carnivore. I love the paleo. If you're looking for different recipes, those are great places to go. But think about your wild-caught fish. Think about your grass-fed beef. Think about your pork that ideally doesn't have nitrates, and ideally, again, is grass-fed. And so there you kind of have to look for organic. Same with chicken. We're looking for an 80-20 rule here. We can't eat organic all the time. And I really want to meet you where you're at. So, I know that cost can be a thing here. So think about, number one, all these has grass-fed meats. I don't know that they have wild-caught seafood. I've tried to look there several times and have a hard time finding it. But also think about bulk from your farmer, especially right now. If you get a cow and you share it with a couple of families, it's probably going to be cheaper to do that than it is to buy a whole cow yourself. But definitely getting what you can and putting it in the freezer always helps. And maybe you guys have other ideas. Guys, I only have a few ideas. I need you to get in this group and to be a part of it, to share your protein meals and come up with better ideas, because I'll just be honest, mine are boring. Okay. But meat, fruits, and vegetables are what have made me better. Food is medicine. And this is a ginormous step toward helping to stabilize your energy, stabilize your mood. You guys, amino acid therapy is an up and coming alternative treatment. And I don't even know a lot about it. I just know it involves amino acids, and I want to learn more about it. But you guys, we can do this at a ground level by just increasing our protein. Okay, so now let's say you're working to increase protein, but you notice that you're more bloated, especially after those heavier meat meals. Okay, so a couple of options. One, chew your food very well. I'm talking 20 to 30 times. And in summer, when I'm busy, I am the worst at this. All right. But take your time, chew your food, especially like those heavier meats, right? The roast and stuff. And then also think about digestive support. Okay. So there's ginger, right? I love Gen Chews. Okay. Or just plain ginger or turmeric added. Kristen, if you're listening, oh, I would love to get more ideas from you if you could post in our group. She's our local herbalist specialist, and I would love to hear from you if you have the time on more digestive support. But there's also digestive enzymes. There's something called DGL. Something as simple as, especially on those heavy meat meals, one of my favorite things to do is to get my minerals, right? We still have the minerals, okay? Take a little bit of the minerals, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and a little bit of water. The minerals, especially if there's some sweetness like stevia added to your mineral mix, it will help to dilute the strong vinegar. You're going to drink that ideally before your meal, but even after your meal is helpful. All right. So I hope this has been helpful to you and pushing yourself forward. I'm here to help. I care deeply about where you're at and helping you to feel better, whether it's a chronic disease or just feeling kind of tired and sick. Not who you want to be, not who you feel God has called you to be. These symptoms are getting in your way. that is why I'm here. I'm here to help you. I'm here to push you. I'm here to pray for you. So, Coffee Walk is happening this week, July 12th. Details in our group. Again, would love to have you there. We're building that community. Great things are happening at those. So, make sure you make a plan to join. And that's it, guys. Let me know what questions you have. Please post those protein meals. And let's give a real hard push for this last week. Thank you, guys.